I feel like personally, we need to stop using the word racism when we don't get something or when something don't go our way, and just
Let me
keep
jump
trying.
in real quick. No disrespect, but racism exists, and I have to acknowledge it. And I can't just ignore it, but what I can do is not buy into the system.
What's going on, everyone? Sauce Kenny here. Today we were reacting to a video from Middle Ground. This is what does slavery affect your family. They'll go into different topics. This is Africans versus African Americans, and you get to hear their different thoughts and their different takes. And I'll give my take in between. Let's get into the video.
Racism is the main cause of poverty among black people in America.
I'm standing. Okay, why you be standing, Kenny? Well, because race doesn't decide whether you're poor or whatever. Just because I'm born black doesn't mean I'm poor, right? And this is this identity politics stuff that I keep, like critical race theory. Oh, only white people say money is because it's a white trait. Like, I don't associate behaviors with race. Behavior is something that any human being can perform and do. If you do one behavior, you get one result. If you do another behavior, you get another result. Poverty is linked often to your relationship status, right? Single parent households are more vulnerable to poverty than married households, right? A black married couple is less likely, has a lower percentage of poverty compared to a black single motherhood or single parent household, right? And 76% of black kids are raised by single parent household, and you wonder why the black community is poor. Or usually, majority of them are in a lower financial status than other groups of people. Now, if you look at the reverse, I always point this point. This is my main point. If you believe white is a system of white supremacy, then can you please explain how can Asian people perform so well in this country if it's supposed to be meant for the white man? Like, you have to answer that for me, right? They're the highest earning group of people in America, the Asian people, and they do things opposite of us, right? We don't focus on education. We don't invest in education like we claim we do. We expect other groups of people, we expect tax dollars to invest in us, but we don't want to invest our actual money that we worked our blood, sweat, and tears for into our kids so that they can have a better educational and academic outcome than us. No, we don't do that as in this black community. That's not in our culture. In the Asian culture, though, there's stats out there that shows that Asian kids spend more time studying, doing homework than any other group of people in America. And you wonder why these people are so damn smart. Because they put the time in. They invest in their kids. We don't do that. So my argument is, if we do those same behaviors, we should get similar results. Simple argument I'm making here. But I digress. Let's continue into the video.
Racism is a very big issue that, talking about it, I'm really trying to be careful to not like say anything that will be insensitive. If opportunity is right here, they will give it to people of other race than African American and Africans too. So if there's a job that maybe have
Isn't that a limiting belief though? Like, that's a objection. I object to that because what's your proof for that? Yeah, sure, we all can think or we all can feel, right? We all can feel that, oh, people get more opportunity than I do. But what's the reality? Like, show me the proof. Show me the paper. Like, so I can see it, right? Because I don't agree with you. I don't agree with that premise. I think of race last. You think of race first. Oh, it's because I'm black. They don't want to give me. Oh, the job requires mathematics. They're going to pick an Asian person before they pick me. Are you sure about that? Are you just as qualified as the other person? Yes. Okay, then you shouldn't, like, race shouldn't be a consideration. And if you believe so, then I hope you have solid proof other than I feel like. Because you don't get nothing done with your feelings. That's the reality of the situation. So if you sit there and you're making a case, oh, I felt like they discriminated me based on race. Look at all the people they fired. And then the company come in, oh, we fired this person because they were late. We fired this person because they weren't performing quality to the rest of their peers. This person was falling behind. And then they have behaviors. They have actions, right? If someone discriminates you based on your actions, that's acceptable, right? Right? If someone's rude to you and you decide to ignore them, that's acceptable. But if you decide to ignore somebody because they're black, how can you? That's the L for me. How can you prove that? How can you prove you're being ignored because you're black? Like, that's the $1 million question, right? And I just think we get lost in this imaginary struggle. Like, we just it's racism. Like, it's just like boogeyman. It's like the boy who cried wolf. We keep saying it over and over and over again, and people who don't believe us are like, yo, where's your proof? and we just say, you just gotta believe us, or you're racist, or you're this, or you call someone names, or you're a sellout, or you're Uncle Tom. When I'm like, yo, just show me the reality. If you show me where systematic racism is, I'll lock arms with you, brother, and we'll fight it together. But you can't sit here and expect me to see things the same way you are, and I don't see it. There's no proof. It all seems like it's all in your head almost, right? Show me the reality, not your imagination. And that's all I'm trying to say. Let's get back into the video.
Math requirement. I feel like they'll pick an Asian person, or they believe, oh, African
You heard that? I feel like.
Americans will not dress appropriate, so they will pick another person. They will always like pick people that are not black over people that are black.
And I also think, I think the crucial like missing point when we talk about economic disparity, time. Time is the most valuable currency. And if you have like a stock that's like the American dream is the stock, and you know, during all that time, all that asset, the American dream was appreciating, and you're not allowed to take out business loans, you're not allowed to read, you're not allowed to write, you have to first fight to become 3/5 of a citizen, then you got Jim Crow, and then you got everything else. It's like, you're now having to buy in at a price so high because the time is irreparable. You can't get that back. One black person today cannot, in one lifetime, achieve what generations of white families were able to do simply because they didn't have to compete with us to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you totally.
I don't think I agree with this guy. So, Kai mentioned that, because of, I guess, slavery and that white people were able to benefit off the labor of black people, that they made, like, I guess, they got a head start economically, right? My argument to that is, if that is the case, then shouldn't the richest states in America be from states that were reliant on slavery for their economic process? If you look at the states that were historically were known as slave states, or they utilized slave labor more than northern states or whatever, you notice that all of them are poorer than the northern states. So this So this idea of them having an advantage over you is not really, I say substantial. I don't see it. I don't see the advantage, right? And what about the immigrants that come here and they just change their lives in one generation, where now you think, oh, there's some rich Nigerian kid. Everyone has that perspective. Oh, the rich Nigerian kid, right? Right? Look at LeBron James. He changed it in one. He's richer than most white people in the same United States, but for some reason the system's holding you back. I don't agree. Like, you either you make promises, or wait, you make excuses, or you make efforts, bro. And that's how I take it. I don't have this victim mindset. I'm not a defeatist. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna succeed in spite of. That's the kind of mindset I have, right? And I just think that we focus too much on giving ourselves excuses and not giving ourselves results. And the result is, hey, if we want change in our community, it starts with us. Politicians ain't gonna do it for you. The Democrats sure as hell not going to do it for you. The Democrats are not incentivized to change your position. Nope. Because as it currently stands today, if the Democrats don't change anything, you still will vote 95% Democrat. So think about it in a logical perspective. What kind of incentive does the Democratic politician have to actually change your situation? Actually change the situation that the black community is the poorest community in America, but while the black community is the poorest community in America, they'll vote Democrat at 95% clip. There's no incentive. That means it's up to you, black people, the black community, to create an incentive for, hey, if you don't change your ways, we're going to go to the Republican Party. Nope. But, a lot of black people are resistant to that. They're like, I'm not going to vote. Okay, fine, you can do that too. I mean, to me, I just think doing something like black people have been disproportionately voting for Democrats for 50 years, and you still complaining about the same problems your grandma was complaining about. Bruh. I'm just saying, if the Democrats were really for you, and this is what Malcolm X was talking about when he said that if you vote Democrat, you're a political Trump, because he's like, you put these people in office, you separate them from being from the White House to the doghouse. You put them first, they put you last. Bro, that's a Trump move. You wouldn't accept that from a relationship, right? You wouldn't. So why are you tolerating that from a political party? Because you believe that they're the only one for you? Look, I don't believe anyone's so moral and so good that they do things for the best interest of someone else. Usually it's a win-win. That's the fairest you can go in this society, in this world, actually. That I gain something from it and you gain something from it. That's it. And all I'm saying is, if you want to change, it's up to you. It's your responsibility. You can't keep going forward and looking back at the same time. You got to pick one. You can't chase two paths. You can't chase two rabbits. You got to pick one. Either you move forward and, hey, let's make our situation better, so that way they have to respect us. They don't come in here and be like, oh, he's coming from a low class, whatever. No. Right? Change our behavior, you change our outcomes. And that's what I honestly believe. But hey, I digress. Let's get back into the video.
Like,
Yeah, I was thinking, just like you said, from a historical standpoint, we start with slavery, then that's centuries, generations of stolen labor, like you said. Then we get into Jim Crow, which is just an extension of that. Then we have redlining, we have mass incarceration, we have events like the bombing of Tulsa and Rosewood in Florida, and all these different examples of our woe.
Tulsa bombing came before Jim Crow, right? It was the 1920s, I believe, that it happened. And during the time in the 1920s, blacks were majority Republicans. They were 80% married. They were on their way, like, out of there. Like, they were becoming affluent on their own without any white people. Bruh. They didn't need white people. And all I'm saying as a conservative is, hey, let's get back to that time. Let's get back to those behaviors that we were displaying that was going to mount to make us the fastest rising economic group in America. But the white people didn't like that, and that's why they destroyed Tulsa. Because they saw that, oh, damn, these people are about to be able to, like, have leverage and power by themselves. They won't need us. They won't have to go into our industries. It's the equivalent of having your own basketball. If you don't want to play with somebody, like, hey, you're not going to play with my ball. That's what the black community had. The black community had their own basketball. They had their own. And then we moved away from it, and we became what? Dependent on the other people. And this is why I don't trust the government. Because if you're dependent on somebody, if they can feed you, they can starve you. I always grew up learning that. My mom always told me that. Nothing in this world's free. It's a trade. You're giving up something. You may think, oh, it's free. I don't have to pay for anything. Nope. Now you're paying in something. The Democrats give you welfare is hey, you make sure you vote D. Make sure. Well, as a black conservative, I'm like, no, I don't want the government doing nothing for me. I want them to get out of my way. Let me keep more of my money so I can provide that for my family. Use those resources to do something else with it. Instead of just sitting here and giving it to them and they just squander it, or they send it to Ukraine, not really fixing any of our issues as Americans, right? It almost feel like the politicians are extracting resources from the American people and then they're just using it for how they see fit. And I'm just like, yo, I'm tired of this like status quo stuff. Like, we need some change. And change ain't gonna happen like silently into the night. We learned that with Barack Obama. But hey, I digress. Let's get back into the video.
Both being decimated. And I don't say that to come from a defeatist or a victim mindset, but I think if we just have an honest conversation about history and what we've gone through when we've been here, racism is definitely a big part of that. And there are a lot of successful Black Americans, a lot of millionaires, a lot of, business owners, but they're exceptions for sure for a reason. And there's a big difference between income and wealth.
To me, I'm like, what makes you an exception though? To me, what makes you an exception is you're exhibiting behaviors that is not common in your group, right? And this is why I don't agree with identity politics, because identity politics almost pushes conformity. Oh, you're a black man, you're supposed to like this. You're a black man, you're supposed to be this. You're black and you like anime. Now anime is cool now. Now it's mainstream. Everyone likes anime. But before 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, it wasn't cool to like anime. They saw it as, oh, that's nerdy, that's geeky. Now it's in the culture. Now everyone's accepting of it now. Right? But that's how I seen growing up. All right? But hey, I digress, bro. Like, end of the day, if you don't control your image, like, end of the day, if you don't instill a culture where it's incentivizing your youth to do good decisions, you're always going to end up with these outcomes, bro. Right? But I digress. Let's continue.
I would like to challenge the ideal that African Americans are lazy or that we don't have a good work ethic. I think there's this perception that, we're here, we're in America, how are we not doing better for ourselves?
The argument I'll say is that it's not like you guys don't work hard, right? It's you're doing, I guess you channeling the energy, you're working hard in the wrong thing, right? In the wrong direction, right? If you're working hard to be a rapper, what's the probability of you becoming a rapper? If you're working hard and you want to be an athlete, what's the probability of you being an athlete? Sorry. It's not as good as if you decided to take that same energy, that same work ethic, and channel it to becoming an engineer, lawyer, doctor, right? In the black culture, there's this disdain for school, especially with black men. Black women are the most educated black people in the community. What happened to the black men? On average, black men make only $30K a year. Black women make more money than men on average in the black community. Right? The results speak for itself. You can sit here and say, oh, we work hard, right? But if you're working hard in the wrong direction, if you're working hard doing the wrong thing, you're always going to get undesirable results, right? White basketball players work very hard, but why does the NBA still majority black? Why is that? Because hard work is only one point of the equation. It's being able to maximize your strengths and minimizing your weaknesses. That's what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. Bruh. That's all I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. But a lot of that is within your control. That one I will admit to you. But I just think it's just we focus on the wrong things, and I think that's why we're not getting the results that we are expecting. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
So
I thought I was gonna be the only one staying. I was gonna be like, oh, I'm about to be like Kanye West, but okay, there's a lot of things we can use as an excuse to hold us back, to not to reach our potential. But it's up to us to look past that. You know, like me coming from Africa, I came here to better my life, my family. I'm the only one here. And since I have been here, there's a lot of bad things that happen to me. There's also a lot of good things that happen to me. Us African or African American, we need to like look past like racism and like just focus on our own goal. Like, what do we want to achieve? We need to stop using the word racism when we don't get something or when something don't go our way, and just keep trying.
I agree. Like, end of the day, who's going to work for you? If you quit on yourself, who's going to believe in you? Right? The world won't believe in you until you do. It always starts with you. So if you quit on yourself, who's going to believe in you? No one's going to believe in you. And that's all I'm saying. Like, if you like racism doesn't affect you, it's only a subjective thing. There's nothing systemic about racism anymore. Racism is down to the fact that someone doesn't like you because of your skin color, and they might call you names. That's as much of an impact a racist can have on you. And most of the time, you run into a racist online, never in person. It's rare that I hear someone say, "Oh, in person, I experienced a racist guy. He called me all this name, all this slur." Now, bad things happen to everybody. Everyone deals with some struggle. No one has it easier than the other. We all got our struggles. We all got our demons to fight. We all got our obstacles in life. We all do. No matter your skin color, your race, we all face struggle. And just act like, oh, because I'm black, you're supposed to accept the premise that I have it harder out than you do. No, you don't. Like, how I know that? I don't know that. And then if I actually prove it, you can't prove it to me. Oh, it happened in my experience. Okay, it didn't happen to me. So what? Now you mad I don't consider it the same way? Huh? Bruh. That's all I'm saying. But hey, I don't know, man. I just don't see it. Like, I don't see why I'm wasting my energy worrying about things I can't control. I only can worry about my energy on how I respond. How do I respond to this? Prosecute them? Hold them to account? Prove them wrong? Like, that is what I wish I see more in the black community. That's honestly what I think. Oh, you want to write us off? Okay, let's build Black Wall Street all over again. I just think the black community needs to embrace do for self. And one of the things that leads to do for self is stop relying on the government. Stop expecting the politicians or these people to do stuff for you, because they always overpromise and never deliver. I'm just saying. But I digress. Let's continue with the video.
You know,
Let me jump in real quick. No disrespect, but racism exists, and I have to acknowledge it. And
Okay.
I can't just ignore it.
No one's telling you to ignore it. You can acknowledge racism exists. Like, duh, that's a mute point. Everyone knows racism exists. I'm arguing is, how much can it affect you? Is it the biggest issue in your life? No, it's not. I'll argue it's not. It's a minimum issue in most black Americans' life. It's just something, oh, I feel, it's feelings. It's like, oh,
It doesn't matter how it makes you feel.
it's just feelings. Oh, I feel like racism is a big issue. I feel like it's affecting me. No, it's not. How I know it's not just your imagination. Tell me, give me a physical. Oh, I got prosecuted because of this. He probably can give me because he's old enough. But people in my generation argue, no. We don't really face that level of discrimination anymore. The most we'll get is hate online. Someone call you the N-word online. That's it. That's the closest we've been to racism. While the old heads may tell you stories of how they've been imprisoned because the tough on crime thing and 1984 crime bill, which the Democrats passed, but we ain't gonna talk about that. Your boy Joe Biden passed. I ain't gonna talk about that. But I'm just saying, But I digress. Let's continue.
it. But what I can do is not buy into the system. You know, if I want to do something, let me be the entrepreneur. What I believe happened in the 1960s is that we started looking for equal rights, to be equal with other people. And what we stopped doing, and I heard you talk about Tulsa, we stopped using the black-owned businesses. Now, because you guys got to understand, the Fair Housing Act in 1968, I'm 5 years old. That's when we could move off the east side of LA and move into other subcultures. So what I wanted to do at 8 years old was go to IHOP. I didn't want to go to the Ma and Pa restaurant anymore. I want to go to, let's go.
It's not like he's saying that the fact that now that black people had the opportunity to leave the black only thing, they stopped being like together. And he has a better experience because obviously he was 5 years old when this happened. And I noticed that, yeah, like end of the day, if it's almost like the black community will only come together when it has to come together. When you're supposed to support, like how I see Hispanic people, they congregate with each other, right? They love being around each other. For us, it's almost like once we make it, we got to leave. And this goes to this the stereotype that it's crab in a barrel mentality. Is because when you're successful, it's like the black culture makes you feel guilty for being successful, and that you owe people something because you're successful, that you made it out, and that you're obligated to help people come up with you. No, you ain't putting the time in. You wasn't with me in the books, right? You wasn't with me shooting in the gym. Yeah, you're not entitled to my success. But black people feel that way. That this will happen to Deion Sanders. You made your money already. Sacrifice, be in this HBCU with this crappy work environment that they don't even want to invest in your program. You had to put everything out on your own money. You didn't give Deion Sanders no incentives to stay in HBCUs. And then when he got a bigger, better offer, y'all get mad that he take it. But if you was in the same situation as him, you'll do the same thing. And that's where I have a problem with, right? Umar Johnson, and I don't agree with him much, but I agree with him on this point, right? Black men expect someone else to come in and build for them. Asian man, he build. White man, he build. He create their systems. He helps incentivize. He builds businesses for his people and he hire his own. What black men doing? Look at the rappers, athletes. To me, the Deion Sanders personifies what is exactly what's wrong with the black community. That the black community is all talk. They expect you to, retweets and likes is enough support that we need to give you. They don't want to support anything monetarily. Umar complain about it all the time. But then black men goes to Umar and say, where's that school though? I'm just saying. If you don't know who Umar Jackson is, he's a pro-black, pan-Africanist guy that he believes, he dies black. He's a big pro-black guy. And he always criticizing black men, saying that black men don't really, I'd say, invest in their businesses. But my thing is, don't rely on the fact that you're a black-owned business. Rely on the fact that you're the best business in town, regardless of race. And this is the pigeonhole. This is why I don't like to focus on identity politics, because you focus on trying to be the best black engineer, right? It's like me. It's like a white player trying to be, I'm going to be the best white player in the NBA. Well, there's not a lot of white players anyway, so that's not a lot of competition. What you should say is, I'm trying to be the best basketball player ever. I'm trying to be the best basketball player in the NBA. Then you compete with everybody. And I think black businesses need to take more of that approach than just I'm trying to be the best black businesses. There's not much competition. And most black people don't even invest in black businesses. If you ask the average black person, what black businesses you donated today, or what dollars you invested in the black business, they can't really name you one. I'm just saying. Like a lot of it is due to our own personal decisions. I'm just saying.
Go eat at the hotels. So what we did is stop supporting each other and started supporting corporate America. So the racism plays a major part, but we don't have to buy into it.
I've been waiting to disagree with you, my brother. I'm waiting patiently. The thing is, even though I want to disagree with you, I get where you're coming from. When I see black people talking about racism, all that stuff, I'm like, what is wrong with these people? You guys have food, you have EBT, all these things, and you're here shouting about somebody is racist too. Just leave that person and move on. I feel that way. Like, why are they always like complaining? But when Black Lives Matters started happening, like, I sat down, I said, I need to actually know why these people are pained. And if we look at the history, what they've done to them, like if you actually sit down, watch some documentaries, how they were maltreated, I don't think if I'm actually born, I will forgive those people. I don't care. it's easier for us Africans that were raised in Africa to feel like they're complaining because we were raised through struggle. Like I barely even have water, and you have water, you're complaining. But then it's not about the basic necessity or about how we are raised. We are raised like, I don't want to say way better. We might not have resources, but there's some way, like our own people.
To me, it's immigrant culture teaches us to be hardworking, to succeed in spite of. Right? We don't like. You can complain. You can racism. I don't care if you complain about it. But I'm gonna ask you, what are you doing about it? Like, are you putting yourself in a better position so your kids don't have the same disadvantages you had when you grew up? That's all I care about. Make your life better. Make your family's life better, not worse, not the same. Make it better. And I think that's the expectation that immigrants place on their kids. At least that's how I felt. Maybe you guys disagree with me in the comment section. Maybe let me know in the comment section what you guys think.
People will not look down on us or put us behind. So it's in their nurture that way. Like they just can't overlook it. And if you sit down and watch everything that the forefathers have been through for you, I changed my mind. No, they need to be angry. However, they should still move forward.
I mean, we have police brutality back home too.
True.
We have, like, if you go to Cameroon and then you see how the police officer treat us, and they're black just like us.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like authoritarians on authoritarian. I'm not joking, but people are gonna abuse power. It's just like it's not even a race thing, right? Now back to the George Floyd thing. What happened to George Floyd is unfortunate. Two wrongs don't make a right. He did something, and then it's just like what happened with Takeoff. Right? They're playing dice, they end up fighting, whatever. They're two wrongs, and then one guy took it too far, kill him. That's what happened to George Floyd. The only difference is that it was a white guy. But the cops would have never been called if George Floyd wasn't trying to sell a counterfeit bill. Right? And all you had to do was cooperate with the cops. And he probably would have escalated that point. But hey, it's hindsight's 2020. In the heat of the moment, we all don't do the most logical and rational thing. But how I grew up was, hey, yes sir, no sir, be respectful to cops, right? It helps your case a little bit more. Because at the end of the day, the cop didn't pull you over for no reason. You may not like the reason, but he didn't pull you over for no reason. He didn't. It sucks to admit that, but hey, look, if you do a crime, expect to see the cop. Like, that's one thing I don't understand. I don't understand this a bit, like trying to absolve yourself of accountability when if I rob a store and I'm like, yo, the cops looking for me. If I get caught by the cops, yeah, you got me, man. You got me. Right? I'm not going to, like, I value my life that much. I ain't trying to prove nothing, because a lot of the times that leads to these black men getting killed by these cops is because they try to resist arrest. No, tell me I'm lying. Tell me. More black men still kill each other way more than white cops kill each other, kill the criminals, unarmed criminals. More black lives are lost with black on black crime than with the police interacting with unarmed black men. And most of those unarmed interactions is due because the guy's resisting arrest, and it escalates to a point where it didn't need to be escalated. But, you can blame both parties for that. I agree. But that's just the reality of the situation. I'm just reporting what's the reality. What's the fact is, if he made different decisions, he may be alive right now today. But hey, I'm only speculating. So let's get back into the video.
You're not even gonna believe it, And in Cameroon, we have this. Have you guys heard of the word like tribalism? So
Yeah, it happens in Nigeria.
So we do get oppressed too. And
I agree.
so when I'm saying like we need to like look past that, I'm not saying forget what happened to you guys or me. At the end of the day, we cannot just sit and just grieve on the past. We have to be able to move on, but not forget. If I could choose a place to live, it would obviously be my country. I love my country, but right now, my country is not the best choice for me. There's a little genocide going on in Cameroon right now. So many innocent lives are being taken. If I was still in my country, the opportunity that I have here, I would not have those opportunities there.
And that's the reality, right? Most of these all black countries, they offer less opportunities than the supposed racist white country. Like it's ridiculous. It's crazy, bro. Like it's pro-black, pan-Africanism, but look what Africa's doing, pushing out their very own, right? Because of the tribalism, right? There's like I don't know how many tribes in Africa, right? But it's a human thing. Humans to like dissociate. Oh, this is my clique. This is your clique. We're enemies. Like, yo, gang culture is just an extension of what's going on in Africa. The tribes, same thing with the gangs. Oh, I'm from South Side Chicago. You from Compton, LA. Oh, don't come around my block. Don't like. That was human nature. Humans been enslaving each other, doing all these monstrosities to each other. These like for decades. It's just not a white thing. And I think it's kind of racist to be like, oh, it's white people's fault that slavery happened when Africa was the one out there selling you guys to the slave owners. No one want to talk about that though. Africa put African Americans into slavery. They sold y'all. White people couldn't survive the climate to even get y'all. So Africans enslaved other Africans because you wasn't part of their tribe, and then they sold you off to slavery. That's the reality. And to keep harping on this, like, you can recognize, you can acknowledge, yes, racism exists. Yes, it exists. It's there. It's here. It's never going to go away. It's an unfortunate reality. People are going to always hate you for whatever reasons. They're going to hate you because you're a man. They're going to hate you because you're black. They're going to hate you because you're Asian. There's thousands of reasons why people don't like you. But you shouldn't let that stop you. And you should recognize, okay, is someone actually becoming an obstacle in my way? Or am I making bad decisions that's, amplifying the effects of said racism? Regardless if you believe racism is a major problem in your life or a minimal problem in your life, I hope we can all agree that nothing will get changed unless we take action. And that one of the biggest action, I think why did I put that? One of the biggest things we can do and change in the black culture currently is putting out the perception that, hey, let's change the images. Let's change how we're portrayed in movies and all this stuff. I might not agree with the Wakanda stuff, whatever, but it put this imagery out there like, hey, you could be more than the rappers and the athletes and all that stuff. But I think we have to get behind stuff like that and push a more positive culture to push us in the right direction that's actually going to give us tangible results, right? And I think the single mother household epidemic that we have, sexual discipline, I think is the biggest factor into why the black community is where it's at right now. Because remember, if men have sexual discipline, if the women have sexual discipline, women choosing good men that can actually be good fathers to their kids, and men are actually good fathers that take care of their kids and stay around for their kids and create a family unit, bruh, we wouldn't be dealing with a 76% single mother household rate. But hey, I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Give me your thoughts. I would love to hear it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I appreciate you watching to the end of the video. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.